And I would actually like to start this talk today by kind of assuming maybe that most of you people sometimes cook, right? Because we're going to talk a little bit about MasterChef. And I'm assuming that most people here at least cook sometimes. And for some of those people, those meals might look quite simple, maybe even pretty Dutch, just some basic chicken and potatoes and broccoli on the side or anything like that. Welcome, everybody. Take a seat. And for other people who are a little bit more the home cooks, it might look a little bit more fancy. They put a little bit more effort in it, try a little bit different spices, maybe some other ingredients, in this case the same ingredients, chicken, potatoes, and broccoli. Make it a little bit more fancy, make it a little bit better outcome. And then they're probably not going to be in the room here today. We also really have the master chefs working in kitchens like these. I'm not assuming people have these kitchens in their homes. But with the same basic ingredients, they actually know how to whip up quite a nice meal. Maybe chicken won't really go with MasterChef, but at least it looks really fancy. It might be served in a restaurant. But you might notice that, like I said, the ingredients, the basics are pretty much the same. They just know how to do a little extra with it and really whip up that maybe MasterChef-worthy meal with it. But what is it that makes just regular home chefs, for example, different than the actual master chefs? There's a famous Austrian chef. I won't be offended if you don't know him, because I don't know him as well. But he once said that cooking is like painting. We already have, we only have so many colors or maybe music notes available to us. But it's really how we combine those that sets us apart. Like as a chef, it's really all about how to combine all those flavors, ingredients, and use the tools that we have available for us with the techniques that are learned that make us make a meal that is, master chef worthy. Now you might be wondering, what does all of this have to do with Contentsquare? Because that's not cooking in your kitchen. But that's kind of the way that I like to look at it. I kind of like to see Contentsquare as this big MasterChef kitchen. I don't know if you've seen the TV program. Before people start cooking, they run into this kitchen and they're able to grab everything that they want. They have all the tools available to them to, if they know how to, create the perfect meal that maybe even wins them the title of MasterChef. And for me, Contentsquare is like this amazing kitchen, actually, that allows us to do that. So my name is Jessica. I'm an optimization expert or CRO specialist at Centraal Beheer. And I will tell you a little bit today about how I'm using, or my colleagues who are sitting here at the front, are using this amazing kitchen and all its tools to really craft the perfect meal served to our stakeholders and our colleagues so that we can really level up our CX game that we have on the website. First, a little bit background information. I mean, the Dutch people, I hope, they all know the company Centraal Beheer, probably from a famous slogan, Even Apeldoorn bellen, but there's also some non-Dutch people here today, so you might know it. But we were actually founded in 1909, meaning that we are 115 years old. We've gathered over 1.7 million customers so far, so we're also not really a small player in that sense. And we're known for our excellent customer service. So we really try to create a perfect experience also besides the website. And we're having insurances, but we also have financial products and other products, like maybe you want solar panels on your house, you can actually also go to us. And we do so for both the individual consumers as well as businesses. Personally, I'm on the business side now since a few months, but we do both of those. You might think insurance is boring because it's not a fancy B2C company, e-commerce company like, I don't know, Zalando or something. Maybe our customers think insurance is boring. I don't really like to go on a website and look at my insurances and everything. But it's actually not really that boring if you work for it, because we have a lot of products. We have over 60 funnels online where you can get your insurance, which means there's a lot of touch points with customers, a lot of different products, a lot of different places to optimize and to improve, but also a lot of places where we can have great customer experience. Hopefully, not that many that we don't have a great customer experience, but at least we can improve there. And we have a big team of optimization experts and obviously also UX designers and other people that are really working every day on improving all of those touch points that we have online. And since the past 2.5 years, I'm guessing, we've been using Contentsquare to do so. So we've been cooking in this kitchen quite some time. In the beginning, might have been a little bit okay. We've used Hotjar, we see, some heat maps. We know where people click. We can also see that in Google Analytics. But over the years, we've gone from the very basic dish that we can whip up very quickly to a more advanced version and more of a MasterChef version of using the tool. A great chef, another one, not going to call his name, but once said, if you want to become a great chef, you're going to have to work with great chefs and learn from it. And that's exactly what he did. But that's also exactly what we are doing at Centraal Beheer. Because what started out as one or two zero specialists that were kind of like optimizing throughout the website has in the past few years grown first to a real community where we're really trying to learn from each other and level up each other with our experiences. And since recently we are our own center of excellence and we really try to go faster and better and deliver a certain level of quality. But that also means that once every 3 weeks we get together with everybody, and we're about 10 zero specialists right now, and really share our experiences and also talk with Contentsquare and show what we did, how we did it, learn from each other, and really elevate each other with our experiences that we do in the day-to-day business. So I already showed you this picture. It's about combining the ingredients and the tools and the techniques that we have. So with 2.5 years of experience, like I said, we've kind of, we've gotten used to it. We've gotten better and better and better. And the analysis and everything that we do have become more elaborate. And it's actually a little bit continuing on the talk that we heard this morning from Mo, saying that you need to take a holistic view, take a step back, look at the context and not just zoom in. So my talk is going to continue a little bit on that point, actually, because there's a lot that Contentsquare offers. You might get the question, okay, how many people are clicking here, or how are people scrolling on this page, or where are people dropping off? And you can pick either of these that might answer that question. But it's actually much more valuable to kind of try to combine them and really make the most of that kitchen with all of those tools and techniques that are available to level up the outcome that you're going to give your stakeholders and your colleagues. That's kind of like the whole holistic view is kind of where most presentation this morning or this afternoon stopped, saying, you need to look at the broad image. Another wise man, there's a lot of wise men in the room today, said that a good example has actually twice the value of good advice. So I could, again, just tell you need to combine everything and not just zoom in on one part. But I actually want to show you. I want to walk you on a high level, not too deep into detail, through an analysis that I recently did that really shows you how we at the company try to combine all of those aspects into an analysis and really try to send you home today with the same idea for your next analysis or question that you get from the company to really make the most out of everything that Contentsquare offers. A little bit of the background information on this before I really dive into it. I got the question to analyze one of our products. This is our business liability insurance. Basic question, how is it performing? What's going good, what's going wrong, where are people leaving, and where can we improve? It entails the product page that we have, but it also gets into the funnel. We have a conversational funnel, so meaning that every question that we have to ask our customers is on its own step. Also meaning that if you're unlucky, in this case, you're going to have to go through 29 steps in order to get insurance. If you are lucky, they're going to be about 18 or 19. But it also makes it really easy to pinpoint where things go wrong, where people drop off, and where we really need to prioritize and focus in order to improve. But before talking about the funnel, I want to go back to the beginning. So if I get a question like this, I like to start kind of where our customers start. And for most people, that is on the product page. But you can just look at the product page, but like Mo said this morning, there's a lot more context that might explain behavior or maybe even change your entire view. So I like to take a step back and don't forget what's happening before and also look at what's happening after. Because if you look at, you might know this example from the interwebs today, you might draw the conclusion that these people are doing something very dangerous. But if you just take a step back, look at the context, they're actually really not. I don't know if you've known this example, but I always think this is a good example of that. So what I like to do, and I'm not going to talk really numbers because that's going to bore you. You don't have anything to do with that information, but just the whole process of it. I like to start looking at the basics. So I use page comparator. I mean, very easy, very basic to start with. How many people are getting to the page? How are they spending their time scrolling? Are they exiting? Are they bouncing? How are they converting? And then I like to use segments to kind of compare, like mobile, desktop, converters, non-converters, traffic sources, you name them, and I try to compare it and just get the basic view of the traffic that is coming to our product page. But it's also good to know, just like Mo said this in the other presentation, what's happening before. Because it might be people landing on the product page, but it might also be that people have seen this whole journey on the website already, maybe gathered all these bits and pieces of information before getting here. And there might be people who are landing here and really don't have any information yet. But that might really change the way that they're acting, reading, searching, and interacting with the website. And the same goes with what's happening after. Obviously, we want them to go into the funnel and get the insurance. But maybe they're just really having a different goal, searching for something different. Maybe information, they go back and forth between other pages and search for something. But if you don't look at this, you will never know. And you just might be like, oh, 10,000 people on the page, great. And once I have that basic view, I like to dive into that product page. So I use zoning analysis, for example, as one of the ways to do so. And just how are people scrolling? Where are they clicking? Are there any elements on the page maybe that people find very interesting? And how are they contributing to conversions? Also, I might make segments from it. If I see people clicking on the video, is this video really helping people, to become a customer? Is it really contributing to conversions, or maybe it's not? Make segments of it, and compare those, see how those are reacting, and really try to find the valuable pieces on the page, and then gather optimization insights, or maybe experiment ideas, or maybe even bugs that we need to, fix for these people. And then if we have that entire view of just a product page, and there's this whole big funnel after that we also want to analyze. And again, we already know people get from product page to funnel, but there might be other ways for people to land in the funnel. And it's really valuable to know that as well. So from the zoning analysis, I like to go back to journey analysis again. How are people finding other routes to this funnel? What kind of bits of information do they have, especially for our funnels? Because there's not a lot of information there. They're very basic. We don't give that much information. We keep it really simple and plain. But it's good to know if people already have some background information or if they really don't. So we like to look at that. Maybe there's people coming from pages where we didn't expect them to come from. We really want to get that overall view. And then, obviously, for a funnel, we look at the funnel. In our case, easy to see where do people drop off. Not going to spoil the answer for you, but it might be step one in this case. And again, look at it with different segments, mobile, desktop, how are they performing? Use my findings that I found on the product page even, make segments from those, and then look at the funnel view again. What do we see there with people that did see the video? Are they getting better through the steps of the funnel than the other people maybe? And then because there are 29 steps, and we can't focus and, improve 29 steps all at once with the capacities that we have available to us. So we really want to know, where should we focus? Where are the bottlenecks? Where should we put our efforts in? And once we have those, it's again back to zoning analysis. What's happening on this step? Where are people clicking? How long are they taking before they have interactions with the input fields? Maybe there's little help links, or search for your company in one example. Are people using those a lot? What's happening there? And maybe for people who dropped off, I like to go into session replays and use that tool as well. Make a segment of those who dropped off on those steps. What is happening? And again, look at the entire journey, not just the page where they're dropping off, but what is the entire journey that they went through getting to this page that made them drop off. And in this specific example, we actually found an error message that we didn't know was there. But that literally blocked people from continuing in the funnel. If I would have just looked at zoning or funnel or journey, I would not have found this. But now we could use impact quantification and see how often does this message appear? What is the impact? What is it doing with people that are converting? Use, again, journey analysis, make segments again with the findings and really see, okay, those who see the message, do they know their way around? Because it's pretty easy for us. People just need to log out of their account and then try again. But do people find that way? And spoiler alert, they don't. So we see people looping and looping and looping. So we really know and can show to the stakeholders and the team and the managers, like, this is an issue we need to tackle. And then it ends on the backlog. And we do so for pretty much all of those steps that we saw with the funnel analysis, with big dropouts. We look at zoning analysis, journey analysis, we do some session replays, and we really try to pinpoint what is happening, why it's going wrong, and then obviously we combine it all into a nice document that we can throw over the edge to other people with our suggestions, and they might be A/B test ideas, they might be bugs that really need fixing, they might be simple content changes. We really like to include screenshots as well, really take them by hand, by what do we see, what is happening real time with our customers, and really get them on board and make sure that the issues that we see are making the top of the list for fixing and improving. In this case, it was a very big question. Good things take time. Literally, the analysis took quite some time. But also getting acquainted with the tool Contentsquare and everything that it offers is something that if you start out with the tool, you don't learn overnight. We have had about 2.5 years and 10 people. We're lucky enough to have all of these amazing colleagues that are working on it together to really try to level up that game. And you might not get a question as big as this. You might just get the question, how is this page doing? Or just this specific step. But take your time to really look at the big picture and the context. In this case, it was the perfect example to show you how we really try to combine all of those tools and, so to say, ingredients and spices that are in this kitchen that are making a truly terrific meal by, for example, starting at the page comparator, moving to journey analysis, zoning, back to journey analysis, looking at the funnel, back to zoning, with the findings going into session replays and impact analysis, and repeating this loop again and again and again for all of those steps that we saw the drop off. And in the end, obviously delivering this 70-page long analysis to our colleagues with all of these points that we can tackle and improve in this case. But we really try to combine, and obviously not just me, it's the whole team that we're working with, all of these just amazing little ingredients and tools and techniques that are right there in the tool if you just know how to combine it, and just instead of just focusing on one, really trying to take that holistic view that we can have of our customers, because it's right there. So we might as well make use of it and become MasterChef and deliver this meal to our colleagues, our teams, our developers, our managers, to make sure that in the end for the customers, their experience is really going to be next level. I didn't make a thank you slide by saying, but I did make this slide with, and I'm just going to leave it on here, with what I want you to take away from this, because obviously you're not going to go through our liability insurance funnel or anything, but what I really want you to walk out of here today with is don't forget the context. Even if you just get that simple question of, hey, can you maybe look at how this page is performing, or this step, or maybe even more specific? Don't just focus, but really take a step back and what's happening before, to really try and understand what's happening in the minds of those people that are visiting that step, or maybe exiting or not exiting, and what's the difference. And also really use segments with the findings that you have to dig in a little bit deeper. If I find something with, like I said, a video, I like to make a segment, people that watch the video or people that have scrolled past the video but did not watch it. So what's really the difference between those two groups? And does it really matter, or is it a finding that we have that we can also just forget about and it's just there? And with that, take that different view. You might answer the question that's being asked for you, but you can also be like, sounds interesting, and just take it upon yourself to dig a little deeper, look at it from a different angle. The question might be how many clicks, okay? But watch some session replays and see what's actually happening there. And finally, show what you find in any way. I mean, the session replays, you can just, if you're gonna present it to stakeholders or colleagues or managers or whatever, put them on a screen and show them real life what's happening there with the customers. Don't just say it. Show them. A good example has twice the value of good advice. You can tell them we need to do something about it, but with Contentsquare, you can actually also show it. And that's something that really helped us making optimization a big part of the company that we are working for today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jessica. We have time for a few questions from the audience. If you have a question, put up your hand and somebody will race to you with a microphone. Andrea's racing. There we go.
Don't ask the hard questions.
You have here use segments. Also work at a financial company. We are very restrictive in using personal data for commercial purposes. How do you segment without, just a question. How do you segment?
Yeah, well, we do it in a lot of different ways, but I think also in this case, what I do mostly is really segment based on what I find. So it's not necessarily people who spend this much or who are customers for already like 5 years or any information like that. It's really based on their interaction with the website. So like I said, people that click on something, visit something, walk through a specific journey or route on a website, and really try to use those to understand what's happening with the information that they have, or try to imagine it really from their point of view, what they're going through on your website, to understand what the actual reason is that they might not do something or do something, to do something with that.
There. No, hang on. One second. We need it for the recording. That's fine.
Is the analysis only on website or also app?
Right now we're focusing on website. We have an app, but we're still working on trying to really monitor the usage of the app as well.
One more question?
Yes, we're focusing on the journeys, obviously, and making sure that the customer translates into a sale. What about the attractiveness of the products? Because ensuring a good experience is great, but attractiveness of a product is also quite important. Do you gather that in your analysis?
You mean how attractive the insurances are? We don't really focus on that. We have a lot of people that really do elaborate analysis and interviews and everything to really grasp how people think of the product, what they feel with the product, how they think of the brand, and all those kinds of things. We have a lot of people working on that, and that's shared within the company. It's not something we, with my own team, are focusing on, but it is something that people are focusing on, and then it's shared within the company. So it is something that we know in the back of our minds when we look at the data, how people perceive it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much again, Jessica. It was a very great presentation, and a big round of applause for Jessica.